Hello and welcome to RBL Weekly, the show where we cover the top 5 battles of the week in the Roast Battle League. I am the commissioner of the Roast Battle League. My name is Pat Barker, and I'm joined by Season 2 Comedy Central champion, back for a second week in a row, Frank Castillo. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? Feels so great to be here.
Yeah. Oh, the studio audience.
Oh, shit.
We got a studio audience now.
This is crazy.
That's exciting. I didn't even see him there. That's wild. 2 weeks in a row you're filling in.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be me and Sarah Keller, and then we're both very busy people who travel the world and get COVID.
Yeah, and I have nothing going on. So
you are
perfect.
always we hit the bat phone and Frank answers.
Yeah,
every time.
absolutely.
Hell
I put my weed pipe down and I was like, I'll show up.
Well, it's good to have you because we got a lot going on in the Roast Battle League right now, and who better to break it down than somebody who's been a champion? And you know, everybody talks about your Season 2 Comedy Central. That's the big deal. But long before we were on TV, you were a champion in the belly room.
Yeah, man. I was just killing door guys trying to get a job at the Comedy Store and had to prove myself. I think it was like 6-0 was the undefeated record at the time.
It was 6-0. A few other people matched it, and then I don't know that it's been beaten to this day.
No, I think it has to have. Someone has to have been beaten it by now.
6 seemed to be the wall that everybody ran into.
Yeah, well, it's also like you start to get against good people, and then like you actually start having like challenges.
Yeah.
And then you see everyone's growth. Because I truly believe after like 2 or 3 battles, people plateau. And then depending on their level of comedy, that next few battles is where they either like get better or they like add another level to their writing, or they just fail.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of both.
Absolutely.
It's always fun to watch somebody get punched in the face for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so great where they're like, oh, because the first few battles I always feel people can like skate on off the top of the head humor or very much like, you know, easily written jokes. And then 4th or 5th battle, it's like you go against someone who's like been doing comedy for a long time, and then they're like, oh shit, I didn't even think of that angle.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that joke. I have nothing to come back from. And then like you feel the momentum of the crowd, and then you're like, oh shit, this is now a real battle.
For sure. It's great to have you on because you are going to be connected to a few of these battles today in ways that we're going to talk about. But before we get to the 5 battles, I want to send a shout out to one of our divisions that has yet to be featured on RBL Weekly. That is Roast Battle Tokyo. Those guys have worked very hard to get their scene back up and running. Unfortunately, the whole country has COVID. Everybody in Japan all at once has COVID. So they are working hard to get us some good footage. They had to postpone a couple shows, but I'm excited to see what they have going on over there. And I wanted to talk to you about this real quick because I know you've been over there.
Yeah.
You went over there actually to judge Roast Battle in Tokyo a few years ago. What was that scene like?
It was amazing. It was right after, I think it was around the time they were having like JFL, and then I went to Tokyo. And then I got to like meet a bunch of people, and I got to meet like their roast battle. Because I remember they were talking about the roast battles in America, and they were so enamored with them, so excited about them. And it was just cool meeting so many different people. And the audiences that showed up to their roast battles were not only Japanese people, but also expats and like people that were dating Japanese people. So it was a nice, cool variety. So like it was just very interesting to see like Japanese battlers battle non-Japanese people and then see how it hits on the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Because there was definitely like cultural local references that I didn't get at all.
Right.
Everyone was like dying laughing, and I was like, someone's gonna have to explain this to me. But it was still so cool to see these battlers and just their different like jokes and just their different caliber of comedians they have.
Yeah, they got a great thing going on over there, and we'll be looking at them shortly. But we're going to start this week with the number 5 battle, and this comes from a place that you once called home, the Bay Area.
Yeah, I love it.
Born and raised, so we're going to start up in the Bay this week. This was a battle that happened on short notice. Somebody dropped out. Last-second replacement. These guys are good friends, and they went at each other, and they had a really good battle on short notice. This is Spencer Sellens versus David Thorne from Roast Battle Bay Area. Number 5 this week. Let's check it out.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. My name is Spencer Sellens. You have to forgive me if I have some rough jokes. I originally wrote them for a black guy with 6 kids. Thank you for laughing at that part. Now, I have to roast a white guy with 6 kidney stones.
I was gonna come up here and make fun of Spencer for being gay, but it's Pride Month and gay people have been through enough without being associated with Spencer.
Let's see, David seems like the kind of guy to watch incest porn for lessons.
Spencer looks like a white supremacist, and his family's British, so he definitely hates both kinds of Indians.
You know, the racism is a little bit rich coming from David because this is the only man who actually sounds like a Jim Crow law.
I might sound like a Jim Crow law, but I don't look like gentrification. Spencer says he's always wanted kids, even though he isn't allowed 100 feet and everything.
All right, you know what? You know, David's favorite hobby is taking Viagra, taking his pants off in the mirror and looking and saying, "The South will rise again."
It's funny because I only need Viagra when I'm with Spencer.
Wow, that was
good.
for number 5.
Yeah.
We've been through a couple rougher around the edges number 5 battles this week. This is a loaded week. That was really good.
It was really, really good. It was so fun to watch. What was the guy on the right, the bald guy from the South?
That was David.
David. It was fun to watch David stumble and then get hit pretty hard and then immediately like take his Bible belt off and then just like I'm here. You know what I mean? It was really great.
No doubt, and like honestly, I don't know how short of a notice that battle came together on, but apparently it was pretty last minute. And I've been in a position a couple times where they have, we've had things fall apart, and I've been asked to do a battle like last minute, and I've turned it down because that terrifies me to have to write those jokes and just like go up there without time to memorize them. You see, they were reading off the phones and everything like that, but man, they had some really good shit.
Yeah, sometimes I think. That low or that like short notice, it can be good and it can be really bad because there's times where like you can just rattle off jokes and you write like the good jokes, the ones that are like you haven't had time to overthink and like rewrite and really like fuck yourself over, right? There's sometimes where you're like, oh yeah, I could do this, and you write like 5 jokes and you're like, oh, these are all great, they're all different, these are all perfect. Yeah.
Well, that was one thing I always found when I was writing. Like at the beginning, I don't know how many. Like when we first started, I would write like 60 jokes for a battle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I'll write like 7.
Yes.
But back in the day, you would write 60, and when you got done, you would find like the first like 8 were the best ones.
Yeah.
And then you were just putting out trash.
Absolutely.
For no reason.
Just terrible.
Yeah. So
And then-
sometimes the first instinct is the best.
Absolutely. And then you'll convince yourself that one of these trash ones is like, this is the banger. And
Yeah.
then you do it, and then there's just silence, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that I noticed watching the battle is that it seemed like David was having a ton of fun up there.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer had this, like, we haven't talked, I don't think, on the show yet about the idea of playing defense.
Yes.
You know, people have different sort of strategies when it comes to it. Some people are big. Keith Carey, one of my favorite battlers ever, will laugh harder at a joke about him than anybody else in the room does.
Yeah.
And it makes him very endearing.
Likable.
Very likable, very endearing. Spencer had this kind of thing, and it probably wasn't even planned, but every joke that hit, he just kind of gave a look like, that joke stinks. And I don't feel like that's maybe as effective. I feel like the energy from David laughing at the shit was like more infectious.
Absolutely. There's something about two people battling where if I'm watching you battle and I know it's consensual and I see you go, oh, that joke stinks, it's like, well, no, everyone's laughing. Like, you can't say it sucks because everyone's collectively laughing at you.
Right.
So, and it's easy to just be like, all right, that was good, because we also want to know and see that you're taking the joke in stride. And it's funnier because then you're like, all right, that was good, but here's mine.
Yeah.
Because it's all in fun. If it seems like, it's like, oh, okay, well then now I like you a little bit less as an audience member.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. But overall, fantastic battle. Number 5, what a way to start this week.
So
Shout out
great.
to the Bay Area. They're doing big things up there. By the time this episode airs, they will have already had their big August 11th battle where Paige Wesley, who's you've seen on this show, legend in the belly room, is going up there to battle one of their top people, Morgan Anderson.
I love it.
Which is going to be amazing. So hopefully by the time you're seeing this, shortly after, we're going to be showing you that battle because I think that one's going to be a banger.
I love Rampage.
Absolutely. So we're going to head across the country now. We are going to go to New York, where we have a couple of guys from one of their shows over there. This is Eric Asker versus Brooks Towill. Now, I talked to Matt Marin, who runs a show over there called Comedy Fight Club. Shout out to Comedy Fight Club. Check out their stuff, too.
Great place.
And he was saying that Eric Asker is one of their top battlers. I believe this is his first time doing an official RBL battle. And I was really impressed with this one. There's a lot of differences between the two battlers, as you'll see instantly as soon as they take the stage. From New York, this is number 4, Eric versus Brooks. Let's check it out.
Real quick before we get started, can we get him a step stool? Do you have a step stool that can hold a lot of weight, anybody?
Hey, this fucking other stuff coming over these two. I think it's on Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Let's put it on Eric. Clap it up for these guys.
And actually, I'm really excited to be battling Brooks. I remember when I first met you, I was going from Manhattan to Brooklyn to do a show, and Brooks was the troll bridge whose riddles I had.
Thank you, somehow more beta version of Mark Zuckerberg. Alright, Eric is also a low-budget Kramer, not just because of his looks, but because he's gone on stage and yelled the N-word.
It's very brave of you to make fun of my looks, Brooks. You're built like Kirby swallowed an accountant. Brooks is still working up the courage to join Bumble BFF. His bio says, still looking for the gym to his Pam. Wait, I'm sorry, I said that.
It's very weird being roasted by Reddit in person.
Hold
It's
on.
very weird.
Hold on, I said that wrong. I meant to say, Brooks would skip the gym to eat Spam.
That's not kosher, Eric.
Hold on, I read that wrong again. It says Brooke has more chins than hands. I got it right that time.
So, I don't know what's more embarrassing for Eric, teaching improv at a high school or having to live at least 5 miles from one.
Last joke.
So sometimes we have battles on the show that are really competitive. The first battle we saw tonight, I felt like it was a really good back and forth. Could go either way. And then you have ones where it's maybe not the most even battle, but somebody comes out of it looking like a star. And to me, that was Eric Asker on that one.
That was the Jewish kid?
The tall
left?
one.
The tall one?
They're both Jewish.
Oh, okay.
They both made there was like a Hitler joke followed by a Holocaust joke. Shout out roast battle, by the way. I love
history
that.
buffs.
Yeah. But Eric was the tall guy. And what I loved about Eric was, when you do a bunch of battles, there's like a bag of tricks, right? The rebuttal is one, and all that kind of stuff. And he kind of pulled out everything, including some twists I've never seen. The pretending. We talk about people using the phones, right? Ideally, kind of an amateur look sometimes.
Absolutely.
But to be able to pull off that where he doubled back and was
3
like,
times?
fuck, I misread that. Yeah, exactly. 3 different. I've never seen the triple play pulled off like that.
I've seen it done twice or once.
That was a new one for me where he's like, I read it wrong again. And every time it worked, and having the phone out enhanced that one.
Absolutely. But also each punchline for that setup was different, but also similar enough to where it was still funny, and it was they're like puns, but still each one had a well written and added to each layer. So it was all right, this is still really funny, more chins than hands, and they became more outrageous.
Right? Yeah, rather eat Spam than go to the gym.
It was really, really good.
It was really good, and Brooks kind of fell into all the traps. Brooks
absolutely.
started with a looks like joke, which, by the way, if you look
worse than the guy you're battling,
don't do what looks like joke.
Tough.
Just don't do it, because you are opening the door for what appears to be like a rebuttal, but you're throwing an alley-oop to your opponent.
Yeah, you're gonna get dunked on hard.
Yeah, for sure.
The only joke I didn't like was the long nose late to a show joke. It was I feel like I've seen that so many times, but I get it.
It was very joke booky.
Yeah, I was
for sure. So not a flawless performance, but damn close to it.
Yeah, great.
And that's what I love about some of these shows from New York, because New York actually runs in 2 venues. They have the New York Comedy Club, which they reserve for their bigger battles, and then this one is at a place, I believe it's called Grove 34, where it's supposed to be newer guys. And we are, discovering the future of the RBL, some new stars. A few weeks ago it was Talon Harris we saw there in New York. This time it was Eric Asker. And they are just coming in and really making a name for themselves.
Yeah. There was a battler recently at the Tuesday shows who tore it up. I think it was last Tuesday, and they had done they came up through Fight Club in New York.
Priya Blunts.
Yes, and I was like, oh, the whole time I was watching, she was like, this is my first battle. I was like, you've done this before or somewhere else or gotten good because you're so like she was on top of it.
Absolutely. We frankly wanted to feature that battle today, but it was too much of a massacre to even because it was. I mean,
goes against community guidelines wherever we post that video.
yeah, for sure. We would get kicked off of multiple social medias for posting like an actual dead body.
Yeah.
Whereas Brooks, I thought held his own. I thought it was a clear win for Eric. But I just love that he had all of the tricks in his bag ready to go. He utilized all of them. He had different types of jokes. He started out addressing the elephant in the room immediately with the "Does anybody have a step stool?" So simple,
so great.
Yeah, so you heard the crowd explode at that one.
Really took what left of, or really took out the legs that he had left.
Yeah. That's why he's the champ. So we are now going to go across the pond to jolly old England. London has been putting out some really high-quality content recently, and I'm excited for you, Frank, to see this battle because I watched it for the first time yesterday, and I won't spoil it. Let's just get into it. This is from England, from London. This is Adam Green versus Jonathan Cogan. Number 3 battle this week. Let's check it out.
Adam looks like the kind of man who hides naked in a wardrobe, secretly watching somebody else fuck his wife. Which is actually how we met. In fact, Adam was a prominent member of the cuckolding community for many years before he realized it.
Joke's on him, I can't fit in any wardrobe. This is my good friend, Jonathan Cogan. Jonathan describes himself as a sex addict, although looking the way he does, he's probably more of a wanking enthusiast.
Thank you, Danny Diabetes. Adam tells everyone he meets that he's a dog lover, but he's meant to say, legally, registered dog lover. Now, it's no surprise he's eaten a few hot dogs, but he'll go down on the ugly dogs too. That deserves more.
I think it deserved less.
Adam's surname is Green, which is ironic because he's never eaten anything that color. Okay. So he doesn't like to go on about it, but Adam is bisexual. And at secondary school, he got the nickname Mr. Potato Head. Not just because they had the same body shape, but because he gave anyone a blowjob for a bowl of chips.
Jonathan. Jonathan describes himself as having anger issues, so he really is the Incredible Hulk of wanking. Too many wanking jokes. I hear you guys.
I liked it. Okay.
Thanks, man.
Adam, you look like the human embodiment of a hangover. You look like Wolverine if his mutant power was to tragically give himself liver disease. Now recently Adam's drinking had gotten so bad that he was thrown in intervention and it was attended by every person who truly cared about him. Nobody came. Should have entered it and dead of it, alright?
Nobody came being the title of Jonathan Sexton.
So let's start with the obvious.
It's in a different country.
Yes, it had a very British flair to it.
Oh my god! It felt like I couldn't tell if they were like roasting each other or trying to decide who was going to buy the next round.
A lot of thank you. The studio audience really liked that one. Hell yeah. Yeah, a lot of wanking material in there.
Yeah, I feel like it's like watching them battle is always so interesting to me because the audiences there are so funny because you literally heard like when jokes don't do well here, you'll just like the audience will just be quiet. But over there, you'll audibly hear someone just be like, "Huh." In like the accent, and it's so funny. Or they'll be like, "Aw," like they're just so audibly like you can hear them. It's great.
So, but as far as the actual content of the battle, look, we judge these things based off of crowd reaction. That's just normal, and I think anybody watching would say that Adam Green fucked Jonathan up.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't particularly close. But I wanted to get into this with you because we've always said that Roast Battle is a joke writer showcase. That was the first tagline for the show. It's all about joke writing, joke writing. If you gave me those jokes on paper, Jonathan's jokes, top to bottom, were significantly better written and more layered. I'm a writing nerd, so I love like the double entendres and the jokes and all the different literary tools. He used every single one of them to write some of the most well-crafted jokes I've heard in a minute. And the audience just did not enjoy any of them. And that I've fallen into that trap. I've written one where I'm like, it's way smarter than it is funny.
Yes.
Necessarily. And he got, personality-wise, he got destroyed.
Yeah, a lot of it is too. It's performance, personality, it's likability. And this is something that I've always realized is you can't be too smarter than your audience.
Yeah.
It's a roast show, so we're all having fun. We all want, you know what I mean? We're at the... We're no. It's never happened to me, but I've seen it happen to other comics, specifically one in particular.
I had the same thought, but I was trying to be professional.
And I'll say the name, and you guys can bleep it out. But Stuart Thompson is a perfect example of his comedy. He's very funny, great writer. But there's times where you see him do stand-up, and you're like, oh, you think you're smarter than the audience, and they can tell, and they fucking hate you.
Right.
Some people. Yeah, but his is more like it's smart, but you're getting led to like a very funny punchline. So like, yeah, 100%. So a lot of this was like, there are very long, well-written jokes, and I like it, but that punch has to be like, and certain jokes you can tell the audience was like, because you took them such a long place.
I think also making them think is a risky proposition in Roast Battle. To use the Mr. Potato Head joke, for instance, like the fact that potato and then the head, and he equated it to giving a blowjob for a thing of shit.
Joke,
it works on like every different level, and I love that. But the joke that got the biggest reaction was you look like the human embodiment of a hangover, because everybody sees it, they get it, there you go.
100%. Yeah.
So like that's always an interesting lesson to learn for new people when you're reading their jokes. Because people send you jokes and be like, "What do you think of these?" And some of them you're like, "That's the best joke I've ever written and I've ever read, and you should absolutely not do it."
Yeah.
Because it will die in the room.
Yeah. Sometimes the audience just isn't. Not that they're not smart, but it's just like yeah, that's a long, well-written joke, but also just you said he looked like a bag of chips, and just the way his shirt kind of looks like the same colors as the Ruffles logo.
Right.
Like it's just gonna crush harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the first time I learned that. I was battling Cena Abinson, who became the Saudi Prince, Roast Battle legend. And in the last round, we were doing a 3-round battle, and in the last round, every one of his jokes was so simple and so dumb. And the room exploded. And I remember standing on stage angry at the audience. I'm like, why are you laughing at these? Are the because his first 2 rounds he wrote really good jokes and they gave him nothing.
Yeah.
And then he started killing me with shit like I fucked Pat's wife.
Yeah,
like that was
yeah.
literally the joke, and people went nuts. People went nuts.
There's something weird about, and I want to take back what I said about the audience not being smart enough, and I don't think that's what it is. I think it's certain jokes tap into like a consciousness that everyone can get at the same time.
Yes.
And I think that's what it is certain jokes you're like, it's real. Only a few people are gonna get because they just have that. I don't know how to say it without sounding like an asshole, but like
sound like an asshole, Frank.
But no, not even like Jamar Neighbors is a perfect example of the way he does his roasting style.
Sure,
his shit's so simple, so it's straight to the point, but it's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
like when he said, I think of like his battle against Guy Branum. I think in my head every fucking time when he was like, "How you that?" Or it was something about donating blood and all that diabetes or some shit like that. Or how you that big and have all that blood and can't donate none of it or something like that. It was just so fucking funny, dude. Yeah, because HIV, he was, dude. Dude, some of the shit he would say was just so simple, so funny, and so quick, and it would just hit. And some.
We can say like even styles make fights, but regions build styles, right? So
Yeah.
like the LA style is that short, punchy economy of words.
Yeah.
Less is more. But the UK, because they build
Yeah.
whole hours worth of material. Their style is more building to a punchline, right?
Yeah.
They have more words. It's
Yeah.
not really about the economy of words.
Yeah, but
it seems like.
even with that kind of format, you could still do it to where it's like every single line has a punch to where it's hard. And some people do that in the UK. And I think as they get better, that style is still gonna be a solid thing. But you're gonna have those people who can hit punches for every single line and finally lead to that bigger punch.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think LA has that quite yet.
Right. That was the thing that New York really specialized
Yes,
in,
yes,
back in
yes,
the
yes,
day.
yeah.
When punches and bunches. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. So you see a little bit of that from London. I love just seeing the different styles.
I love it all. I still love it so fucking much.
It's the best.
It's so fun.
It really. I'm such a nerd for this shit, and I want to say, if they're watching right now, congratulations
Yeah.
to Adam Green on a well-deserved victory. But also, Jonathan, I love the jokes. I see
Yeah.
what you were going for there, and fucking dumb crowd, bro. Not your fault. Not your fault at all. All right, so from London, we return stateside, and frankly, it's a city that I was really hoping we could get into the #1 spot this week. I thought we had it, but it's going to peak at #2. We're talking, of course, about LA. The streak continues. We have not had. This is where the show started, and we have not had a #1 battle this week, but this one came damn close. This is Guam Felix versus Nate Welch. It was a main event in the Belly Room this past week. This is the #2 battle this week, live from Los Angeles. Guam versus Nate. Let's check it out.
This is Guam. This is Nate. This motherfucker roast.
Yeah. All right. Nate gives women ovarian cancer because he chews tobacco when he eats pussy.
Smokes cigarettes. And that was the singer, Steven Seagal. Guam looked like a sensei that teaches Taekwondo cookie dough.
When Nate was little, he got kicked out of church because he kept on molesting the priest.
You look like Bruce Lee tried to transition into Chun-Li. Guam also reminds me of the Buddha. But like if halfway down the path to enlightenment, he just said fuck it and went to Popeyes.
I love the spicy chicken sandwich. Nate's only had 3 girlfriends during his lifetime, and 2 of them are still locked up in his basement.
Yeah, that sounds unfortunate. You look like you had a batch of bad fortune cookies. Guam also has been single for 17 years, and he gets really triggered when you call his sex toys dolls because they're action figures.
Shout out to Comic-Con. Shout out to Comic-Con. Nate actually was on an episode of Maury, and he found out that he was the father and the uncle.
You look like a genie that popped out a can of Axe body spray. Guam also looks like he starts all his stories with many moons ago.
Nate's on a new reality show called Incest Survivor.
That's pretty funny coming from The Rock's cousin, The Roll. Guam's got 3 kids, 2 baby mamas, and 1 dumbass haircut. Each little knot in the ponytail is for another year he didn't pay child support.
Come on, guys.
Because also, just looking at him, you know you don't pay child support.
I love jokes about how Guam doesn't pay child support.
It's so funny because it's like if you look at Guam, you're like, yeah, that's plausible. There's a good chance he doesn't pay child support.
Yeah, absolutely. Even I have no idea if it's true or not, but it looks true.
Yeah. My prejudices tell me it's true.
Really good battle, man.
Fun, great. I love Nate. I love Guam. They're both hysterical. Also, Guam's comedy can perfectly be encapsulated by that woman going, "What?" or "Oh my God!" Like that is 100% how he is.
Guam is one of the most consistent battlers I've ever seen. In that, I've seen him battle 20 times, maybe more, and every battle he does 5 jokes, and 3 of them are not very good, and 1 is pretty good. And the 5th one is the funniest joke I've ever heard.
100%.
Every time.
Every time.
He has one. It's like a dude shooting half-court shots. Like, most of them don't go in, but when they do, it's really fucking impressive.
Yeah, you're like, oh, shit, he just won like $500,000.
And he still wouldn't use it to pay child
Nope.
support. So Guam is one of my favorite characters on the show. He's been around forever. He's a door guy. He works VIP the nights that he battles.
Yeah.
He doesn't spend any time walking around, pacing around like us, memorizing the jokes. He is just kicking people out of VIP. Then he goes up on stage, always entertaining, always fun.
So funny.
Love the guy. But Nate's the one I kind of want to focus on because I said this to him, but I've really seen a lot of growth out of Nate Welch.
Oh, absolutely. Raging Cajun, dog. He's getting better.
Yeah, and the first few battles, it was like he didn't quite know what he was doing. He was trying to figure it out. But the last few, that guy has been on fire.
He's figuring himself out. And I love that because roasting isn't just one of those things of like you just go up, you write roast jokes. It really is like comedy where you find your style, you figure out how you do it, and it's been fun to watch Nate blossom into the roast battler he is.
Yeah, for sure. And he had a bunch of different shit there. Like when he opened the battle with Steven Seagalum, and you look like you took Taekwon cookie dough.
Taekwon cookie dough, such a funny fucking
First of
word.
all, amazing back-to-back punches, right? But I got worried because I was in the room and I was worried. I was like, is he just going to go puns the entire time? And then he didn't really do another one the entire battle. It was like he grouped them together and then moved on and did something else.
No. But he had another one after that was so funny. The many moons ago line.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
It's a great ponytail like joke, but without being like,
You're also kind of calling him old.
Yeah.
Which he is.
So many different like layers. You know?
Yeah. And credit to Guam for Nate went on the Maury show and found out he is the father and the brother or the uncle or whatever the joke was. That was outstanding. But when I watch Nate, I'm like, this guy could be one of the next up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking for, of course, in LA. We've been around a long time. As we referenced, you held the original Belly Room title, what was it, 7-8 years ago?
Yeah, it's crazy to think it's been almost like a decade.
It's wild. And now we're moving on and we're figuring out who are the next people who are gonna challenge for this right here. And
shit.
I had to bring this to the studio today because as you're watching this episode, this is scheduled to drop on August 16th. Later tonight, this is our Roast Battle Championship. The belt wasn't this nice when you held it, was it?
No, the belt we used to call the belt that was given to me the Betty Crocker belt because it looked like someone made a belt out of cake and icing.
We were ahead of the is it cake curve.
Yeah, we were ahead of the is it cake curve.
But now we have this nice shiny belt. Joe Urell was the first guy to hold. This is the main event championship in LA. I would say it's still the most coveted prize in all of Roast Battle, and he will be defending it tonight against Omid Singh, the winningest battler in the history of Roast Battle. It's going to be absolutely insane. And if you don't want to wait until next week to know who won and track the battle, I have a new Instagram account I would like everybody to follow, at RBL Commish. We're going to be posting all sorts of Roast Battle stuff on there. It's going to be like the Sports Center for Roast Battle. And I promise I will have live results from that battle as they drop tonight so you can find out who's walking home with the big gold belt here.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Now,
can I hold it?
That being said, of course you can hold it. Absolutely.
Oh, it's actually heavy.
Yeah.
Holy shit. This is actually really, this has got weight to it.
Yeah, we gave it to Joe Urell, and he was so happy to hold it, and then he was like, please, somebody take this away. I do not have the body strength to continue holding this thing. While I do think that is the most coveted prize, while I do think LA is still the backbone of the roast universe, once again, I come here very impressed by another city. They were number 1 on the list in the first episode we did. They're number 1 on the list again this week. Chicago has been absolutely killing it. And they have an absolute barn burner of a battle, a slobber knocker, if you will, that's going to be number 1 this week on the list. And Frank, you are the perfect person to commentate on this because guess what? 2 Latinos.
Yeah, I love them.
We don't see that often on the show, so we had to bring in the champ here to comment on our number 1 battle this week. from Chicago, their second #1 battle in the history of RBL Weekly. This is Gabe Alviso taking on Ken Flores. Let's take a look.
Actually, before I start, real quick, I'm excited to be here. Today's my 30th birthday, so this is really exciting. Thank you. And I just wanted to say thank you to the producers. They all got together and bought me the biggest Mexican piñata they could find. Holy shit. Yeah, later on, we're all going to get blindfolded and beat the shit out of it. It's filled with candy and loose cigarettes.
Is that a roast or the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, they
motherfucker, are you 30 and you dress like you 5, motherfucker? Gabriel likes to think that he has some type of fashion sense. But no matter what he puts on, he never looked cleaner than my neck, bro.
Yo, we can't even see your neck, dog. Yo, Ken looks like the Kool-Aid man with a criminal record. But instead of smashing through walls, he's just smashing through the southern border.
And Gabriel's mom.
I know who my mom is.
And Khalil's obviously his father. We have another Indian up here, man. Gabriel looks like he flunked senior year of high school on purpose just to keep fucking freshmen.
You look like you got your GED in a Taco Bell drive-thru. Ken is Mexican. His family actually snuck into America from Mexico, which is fucking disgusting. When they were sneaking into Mexico, his parents were like, Ken, are you ready to jump the border? He was like, jump. You know what? I'll just meet you there later.
All right. Gabriel's so whitewashed, he deported his own parents. Fuck. Gabriel is the only illegal homeless hipster I know. He's actually qualified for his citizenship, but he thinks it's too mainstream. So he just dumpster dives at Paxson.
Hey, he said I'm whitewashed. At least I'm washed, you fucking dirty fat bitch. Yo, Ken is so fucking big, fat, and sweaty. Even if he wasn't Mexican, he'd be a wetback.
Gabriel likes to call himself Tiger on Instagram. That's one way to say pussy, though.
Seeing my Instagram handle is the only time he's seen pussy. I mean, I'll keep going.
Gabriel looks like the guy that gets cheated on in every independent film. And in real life.
Ken is actually a great stand-up comedian. He's one of my favorite in the city. He hasn't been doing it for a long time, but he's really good. I'm just saying, Ken is so good at stand-up, he could do it with his eyes closed. His eyes must be fucking Mexican, too, because they are fucking lazy. All right.
Gabe is so bad at stand-up, he's been looking forward to this show all month. Gabriel looks like he spent his whole tax return at the second floor of the little village discount next door, bro.
You look like you shot that bitch.
All right, last joke.
Ken, this is the last one? Oh, fuck. All right. Fuck. Which one are we going to do? All right. A friend asked me, hey, is Ken a part of the Latin Kings? I was like, no, that bitch is more of a Burger King.
Gabriel claims that he's from California, but every time he says the word fool, homie, or dog, it sounds a little corny. And I couldn't put my thumb on it, but I finally figured it out. Because behind that pubic beard, Gabe is actually just a white boy from Logan Square.
Bro, that
was like watching a fucking demolition derby.
Dude,
they did not take a breath.
That was so good.
They kept going in.
So great.
By the way, shout out to roast battle host Brian Moses, who I'm not gonna take credit for it. Cheech and Chimichanga.
It's so good, bro. He pulled out that picture, like he was like, "You from a private school?" You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it was-
And Clarence's parents have a real good marriage.
I loved it, dude. It was great. All the jokes. I thought was the gentleman on the right's name?
The right was Gabe.
I thought Gabe was gonna take it.
Yeah.
Because he really started having that momentum in the beginning. But the gentleman on the left, Ken, right?
Yeah.
He just, I don't know, man. It very much felt like watching one of my Thanksgiving dinners. It was like he had like bigger cousin like talking shit to you vibe.
Yeah.
And it felt like he just had more jokes. He didn't run out of steam at all.
No, not at all. And, you know, we talk all the time about how styles make fights. And you have Gabe with that sort of like, I don't know a nice way to say crackhead energy, but that's where we're at. He's, you know, he's bouncing around. He's like, he's on fire the whole time. Just crazy energy. And then you got Ken, who's just kind of like standing there, you know, laying back.
Very much like Buddha.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, same body type, same joke delivery, same the whole deal. And it just made for this like really great fight because, you know, I've seen people who try to get by on just energy.
Yeah.
On the roast battle, they try to get by on just swag, and it doesn't work. You know, Gabe had a great combination of great joke writing and that energy, and it worked perfectly with Ken's laid back style.
Yeah. It was a very fun battle to watch. I got to give it to Ken, but it was like Gabe put up a great fight. It was all around. I loved it.
Now let me ask you this: you've seen probably 1,000 roast battles at this point, maybe more. Was that the best all Latino battle you've ever seen?
Yeah. No.
From way downtown.
It was very good. I'm trying to think of the other battles that I've had that was Latino, because Jesus never battled another Latino, right? And Perez, actually one of my favorite things about Perez, he made it a point. He was like, "I'm not battling another Latino," and I was like, "I love that dog." Yeah. Oh, that was good.
That was a good one. Yeah,
I like watching Digis because he's so much of a character. But I think that would probably be one of the best, like just straight Latino battles.
Yeah,
because when you have because you know everyone, you know the industry wants to think that those two Latinos are the same, but those two guys are very different. Very different.
Yeah.
They are both Mexicans, but they're very different kinds of Mexicans. So when you have those kinds of guys fighting or roasting each other, it's like even culturally, like those are two different cousins in a family that have been talking shit to each other for years.
Yeah.
So it was just so fun to finally see that culmination. It was like, oh yeah, I've seen this shit my whole life. This is great.
Yeah, dude, the chemistry felt like they literally were doing this at the dinner table.
Yeah, it was great.
Like you said, that was awesome.